Just north of Murrow in Western Australia, in the wheat belt of Western Australia, is a station called Mellenbye. It's actually a station stay set up for tourism, and you can come out here with your caravans or just camp with a fire. We're going out here today to meet the owners and see what it's all about.
So Shelley, we want to camp for a couple of nights perhaps, but during the day what can we go and see on the property?
Well, you've timed it beautifully because the flowers are great at the moment, so you'll be able to see lots of everlastings. I'd suggest a really close place to go is Burrow Lake, which is a dry salt lake. There's a couple of hills, you can get a really good view from the second one. Okay. So make the effort to climb up the top of that.
We took the car out to Burrow Lake, a really dry salt lake with a pretty decent view from the top of the breakaway. Flowers everywhere as usual for this time of the year. The wind was blowing hard, but I managed to get the quadcopter up for a bird's eye view. My good old Phantom 3, still flying after all these years. Deb decided to try walking out. Some of the previous salt lakes we visited were difficult to walk on, as the salty crust is deceivingly thin and one risks sinking in the brown muck beneath. She was in luck, as this lake was pretty dry. I was wondering how far she was going to walk. You do need to take care on these lakes with the salty light glare. It can be hard on the eyes and on the skin, so make sure you wear hat and sunnies and be conscious of sun protection.
Hey, you're just in time to go and walk the goats. The brown one's the boy, he's Danny, and the white one's Sandy.
Danny and Sandy. Any Grease fans out there?
Hi. Yes, mate.
The goats normally follow the electric-powered buggy, but seemed excited by a few too many people around and about. So Shelley had to get out of the buggy to get their undivided attention. Meet Banjo, Morris and Dusty, the inseparable donkey trio. Very intelligent animals. It was a tad windy.
Hey, jump on in, we'll go and clean some troughs today.
So Shelley, what kind of vehicle is this?
We call this bully. It's actually a bull chaser, which we don't do, but that's its former life. So it's set up with all the bull bars and the necessary cage to stop any bull that might want to get a bit upset that we're chasing him. But here we like to actually trap the bulls and the cattle by taking them into water and food. So they can just stroll on in, and then we just close the gate on them literally, so we don't have to do chasing, which we think doesn't stress the animal that way.
I love the echoing sound of that creaking windmill. Shelley, what's this big one?
The big one's just to make sure we've got plenty of water, but the reason we've got two, so we've got the smaller, lower one, that's for the calves, because the calves actually can't reach up into here. And that way we make sure that everyone's getting plenty of water. We've got backup.
Shelley, what do we got here?
These are spider orchids just here. So really tiny, delicate little things in the hard dirt. And we've also got some sundews starting to pop up. Sundews, if you were to dig them up, which of course I wouldn't recommend, They actually have a really long stem and a small bulb at the bottom of them, which is usually bright red. You can use it like an ink. That one.
Shelley showed us a few reef flowers growing on the station. Very rare, the tiny flowers gradually cover the entire round, looking somewhat like a Christmas wreath during this growth period.
Mellenbye station is in the district of Yalgoo. It's a working cattle station, and we've established a station stay to give people the opportunity to come out and enjoy station life and country life. We've set up a number of different options for people. So obviously people who like to be in their swag or their tent or their caravan, their RV, whatever they want to bring with them. There's a nice camp area that's supplied with a camp kitchen, shearing shed that we're sitting in now, so they can come in and out of the wind and the rain. And we've got a bit of entertainment in the shearing shed as well that you can amuse yourself with. Shearers' quarters, of course, is a nice rustic way to get a really genuine feel for the place. All of those sites have got campfires close by, shower and flushing toilets. The next sort of level up is basically some homestead rooms. They're just queen beds with their own en-suites. And next level up again from that is a fairly large room donga. So donga kind of envisages, you know, the old mining camps, which are pretty primitive. Well, ours are fairly luxurious and nice big deck and fireplace out the front, so you can sit by the fire and look at the stars. And then the next level, which is our latest addition, there are actually some cabins and some cottages. So the two little cabins are just a room with your bedroom, tea, coffee, making facilities and an ensuite, and a deck outside to enjoy a barbecue, and again a fire pit. And then the cottages are miners' cottages, they're called, and they're actually like a little house. So essentially you've got a large deck area, lounge, kitchen, your own bedroom, bathroom and laundry facilities.
I decided to do one last flyover with my hexicopter. The property looks impressive from the skies, and you get a good perspective of the space around the homestead and cottages. We then drove out along the route that Shelley uses when showing the property to her guests. Plenty more flowers and cattle roaming free. We stopped beside some breakaway country right near a native apricot tree, once used for medicinal purposes. I put the hexicopter up for another fly because it provides a beautiful perspective with the water in the salt lake and the earthy colours wrapping all around. This is way more fun than flying a normal multi-rotor or drone, as you get low to the ground and fly fast. It's also great if you're battling wind, as these little custom-built machines are much more powerful. The white cliffs are dramatic, don't you think, when contrasted with the red tops? The station is huge and you can drive a long way, but our destination was The Rock. While we had our swag set up back near the homestead, we also set up a camp here for day use. That's because camping is restricted near the rock at this particular point in time. So we decided to prepare dinner, eat and stay here till dark to capture some of the evening light and enjoy a rock top sunset.
Doing a bit of dinner prep by our own beautiful private rock here at the station. So we're doing a bit of a trusted recipe actually. Chopped up zucchini, tomato and onion, herbs and spices, and good old sausages.
Where would we be if we didn't have tomato sauce, eh?
Where would you be?
Cheers.
Cheers.
We came back first thing the next morning to enjoy breakfast and maximise a full day here. Beautiful morning here on Mellenbye station. Bit damp last night. Just getting the fire ready to cook up breakfast. And then we're going to go for an explore over the granite rock over there, the dome rock. Check out the waterholes. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful day. Dead still last night. What are you cooking up this morning, Deb?
Well, we had some roast chicken the other night and potato and veggie, so I hate seeing this stuff go to waste. So I'm just doing a refry of all that in the fry pan.
And of course, it's bacon and eggs for me. Yummy. Yeah, well, walk up on the rock today. I think way over the other end there's another rock and there's a big pile of water there too, a nanny hole.
Okay.
So we'll check that out.
Yeah. Put shorts on and get going.
The rock is covered in tiny rock gardens, little pebble-like formations, looking as though they'll tumble down the rock face at the slightest movement. These little taddies look pretty content. Given the isolation of these pools, it's amazing that they can live and grow here, but they do. The view from the top is fantastic, 360-degree views at some points. As you can see, the top of the rock is covered in tiny namaholes which support life and are also used by animals as a water source. In times gone by, they were essential for Aboriginal people and also stockmen. The pebbles seemed to grow larger the further we walked up. It's interesting to see how the rock actually supports tree and vegetation growth, even though we're up a fair way from the ground level. The aroma of native yellow wattle around the base of the rock was rather strong. These little lizards, about the length of my forearm, were everywhere. If we stood still long enough, then so did they. Whilst their running away always seems timid, their head bobbing is all about aggression. They also head bop if being territorial or being dominant near younger males or females. I might try head bobbing around Deb one day and see if it has any effect.
So even though we're camping out bush and roughing it, a girl's still got to have a shower. So what we got here is a lipo battery and then a mobile shower. This will actually go in the water and this is what's gonna wash me. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that's freezing. Oh, but you know what? It's so good. So good to get a bit clean. Oh, yes.
The base of the rock was covered in lots of everlastings and daisies. We'll never get sick of walking through them. They do tend to sleep in though, taking a few hours in the morning to fully open and embrace the sun's rays. But when they do, it's magic. The lemon yellow everlastings are really pretty. These little papy daisies waltz with each other in the light wind. These tadpoles seem to waltz too. In some pools they have grown quite large. You can see the legs growing, ready to turn into frogs and hop off into the granite sunset. It was time to pack up our day camp and leave the rock via the same tiny scratchy path through which we had entered. Sheep yards.
Yeah, it's pretty resourceful, isn't it?
Made out of timber.
Yeah.
Wood.
Dead wood.
We stopped at some old drovers' sheep yards. So we're in some old sheep yards here. Years ago when they were herding the sheep, moving them through the country, they had to camp overnight, so they would make these yards just out of the timber to keep the sheep in the yards for the night, before steel post was invented, I suppose. Amazing. Just a little yard. Continuing on, these red and green colours never seem to get old, no matter which angle you see them from. This old fence line, you'll notice that all the posts are wood. Now these posts were all hand cut from all the scrub around here. Just crazy how they used to do things, because there was no steel post back in those days. And also the holes, they hand drilled. So they had a brace and bit, and each hole was individually manually hand drilled. Amazing. Nowadays we've got cordless drills.
This is actually a nest. It's a nest of a bird called a mallee fowl. It's pretty big, as you can see. It does take the birds a long time to construct it, so they will reuse it. It's an active nest, so somewhere in there there's some eggs. We're obviously not going to disturb them. I'm just hoping that Mum and Dad aren't aggressive, because I'm standing pretty close to their unborn babies right now. This is actually a camera that's been set up by the station owner, powered by a little solar panel up here, so they can observe what's going on with the fowl.
Next stop was an interesting but mysterious piece of history.
So this is a lonely grave in memory of Richard Sheen, who died in 1920. There's a bit of a story about how Richard died, and we're yet to find out a little bit more.
Word has it that this stockman accidentally discharged his gun while mounting his horse. Here we have a cattle yard. Water is pumped into troughs via wind power. The cattle enter to have a drink, and the station owner can lock the exit gates if the cattle need to be moved. This situation is a little unique. This well is hand dug, and you can hear the water flowing back into the well. That's likely because the storage tank is full. Not a bad problem to have. This furry looking tree is known as a mini Ritchie. It is a form of acacia, unique to the Murchison and Gascoyne regions. The bark seems to be perfectly curled, just like you might peel tiny pieces of chocolate to decorate your favourite cake or pavlova. It's lovely to see the cattle roaming free. Even prettier when they're standing amongst the wildflowers. There are quite a few calves at the present. Shelley spoke to us about ghost bulls that roam the station country and mate with the females. The calves look pretty content. Check out this big boomer. Those powerful back legs and tail. He's also enjoying the spoils of recent rains. I've never seen plovers that look like this, with these unique stripes. This is a sandalwood tree. And what they do is they have professional cutters, or through some stations and some crown land, and they go through and chop these up, and then they use it for perfumes and stuff. The bark's got quite a distinct sandalwood smell. Funny looking tree. I was awake early and captured another beautiful sunrise, murky looking in the low light and bushy horizon. You can see a nest there in that tree. Morning colours are magnificent, no matter whether it's a natural or man-made structure that you're looking at. You just got to drag yourself out of bed in the cold outback winter mornings. A cranking fire always helps. I feel like some toast. We're back on Mellenbye station here, and this is their little camp area. And all the little areas, they have a little bit there for your timber, and they have this little fireplace here. And just over the back there is some toilets.
If it isn't a Rio, it isn't a Speedwagon. Rivals are copying not only the general features of design, but even the very term by which we designate the light, speedy Rio motor truck. We said general features, note the distinction, for that's as far as the imitators can go. They cannot imitate the Rio.
Lots of old relics around to look at. Not only this old Rio, but plenty of rusty farm machinery and homestead appliances. On our last day, the donkeys were not their usual selves. Donkeys have a reputation for being stubborn, but it's just because they are cautious creatures and are careful in a new or foreign situation. Shelley gave them lots of love this morning, and finally Banjo set the example and his comrades followed along. What beautiful creatures! And what a beautiful stay at Mellenbye station. We said goodbye to Shelley and made our way along the 6-kilometre driveway back to the main road. I just had to put the hexacopter up again, and I had to tell Deb to keep driving faster. She's used to driving with the old Phantom or Mavic in tow at 30 or 40 kilometres per hour. But it was finally at a speed of 90 to 100 kilometres per hour before the Mux finally pulled away. Not bad for a homemade custom flying machine. Thanks Shelley for our stay at Mellenbye. We absolutely loved it.